a bunch of companies need to go bankrupt.
Yeah.
There needs to be more velocity. There needs to be
But
more
that
disruption.
happening under the Trump administration would be horrible.
For the Trump administration,
I
it would be bad for the economy.
Yeah,
We need a correction.
would be very bad for Trump.
We need a grand scale universal correction.
Yeah.
No more. Here's what I want to stop. I want you all to hear me, please, because I know you agree. No longer do I want to hear stories about a BuzzFeed reporter getting $90,000 a year. No longer do I want to hear about an employed in NGO making $1 million a year doing legal work in Loudoun County, Virginia. I want to hear about pay raises for firefighters, pay raises for people who work manufacturing jobs. And so the funny thing is, as Mark, you mentioned that Harris voters tend to be, higher income and things like that. The media industry is overwhelmingly liberal. Academia is overwhelmingly liberal. These people wouldn't know what a callus was if you showed them your own hands. They would just think you were deformed, because certainly that's not a real thing that happens to people. I would like to see a grand correction where everything realigns back to those who do hard work are successful in this country. The man who is buying a nice filet mignon with herb butter is a guy who builds things for a living and works hard and earns that reward, not some uppity liberal moron who's never worked a real job in their life. And they're an aide in Congress, or they work for a media publication where their job is to literally complain on camera to millions of people, and they make exorbitant sums of money. Could you imagine someone like that? These kind of people, they're permanent children. They probably wear the same clothes every day.
Just bitch.
They wear beanies everywhere they go. They skateboard at 40 years old. The people who are making millions of dollars should be first responders, firefighters, police, servicemen and women. That's the kind. Now that's a grandiose view, but I'll put it simply. And I know there was a joke in there. My point is, when I hear that you've got these liberal journalists at these publications making six figures, and a guy who used to work on an assembly line for auto manufacturing lost his job because they sold the factories to Mexico. I'm like, that guy, he's building cars that we need. He should be feeding his family. He should be having kids. He did everything right. Yet it is the uppity, well-to-do liberal working for a company where they produce nothing of value who is reaping the rewards of this system.
I'll go one step further. It's not the liberal. It's the person with absolutely no moral rudder who's willing to suck up to a game and a system in order to get ahead without considering the moral ramifications. This is what people signed up for with Trump. And I'll tell you, just the mass deportation plan, massively deflationary. That's what he's going after. That's baked into his platform. And that's one of the best things that you can do to get those people increased wages. And guess what? It's not going to happen. So I'm calling on Congress today, Republicans, give us a vote on E-Verify. Let's get E-Verify. It's overwhelmingly popular. The number's 60 to 70% every time we ask. It could go a long way to self-deportations. We don't have to have Tom Homan bust all these people's doors down. We can have these people leave immediately today. And what I heard from somebody I know, I trust within the Beltway, is that it'll never happen because Republicans love their slave labor.
Yep. Well, the MAGA party seems to be a bit different, though. Maybe we'll see something change with Donald Trump.
Well, I think in Trump's speech even today, he was talking about more legal immigration. I don't know how that plays into this, so never mind on that, actually.
Increased legal immigration is also astoundingly unpopular. Numbers below 30% of Democrats want an increased level of legal
even among Democrats.
Yes.
Really?
You mentioned that that this is a deflationary tactic to remove people, people from the country. I agree. We're So the difference between deflation and recession, because I feel like we've been in a recession since 2008. It's just that on paper, the number's going up. In reality, the value is going down. So it feels like our value has been receding. And what is it? Now we're doing a controlled burn? This
Deflation means deflation's not not the same thing as a recession.
Deflation literally means you're taking money out of the monetary supply. You're reducing the number of zeros on the book, basically. That's deflation.
I mean, no, the buying power goes down.
And a recession, that's more uncontrolled. That's things are happening out of our control.
A recession is very specifically, I think, 2 consecutive quarters of negative nominal GDP growth.
Yeah.
And if you zap 3.6% of GDP, which is government spending, by removing $1 trillion, you're getting a recession on paper.
And they'll also inflate the value of GDP by having one guy dig a hole and then they'll pay another guy to fill it back up. And they'll be like, look, gross domestic product. That's not real what do you call the opposite of recession? That's not real like progress.
That's
No, productivity.
Yeah, it's not productivity, but even though they'll call it that, so obviously that's been inflated too. Yeah, I think it's time to just accept that we've been in a recession for a long time, and now we're trying to stem the bleeding.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.